Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today, we're going to be talking about Naked Brain Group, going with the ticker NAKD. Now, we have a massive update relating towards this one, which we're going to go through today, followed by a bit of technical analysis and what I think about this one. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So Naked Brain Groups. Now, I did talk about the stock before. You'll find my previous video in the description below, but out of the things we talked about, one of them was a really good hit that we actually anticipated ahead of time, which is in relations towards a future acquisition towards other companies similar towards Naked Brain Market perhaps. And this is coming in towards the letter to shareholders, and it marks as follows. This year has marked the transformation of Naked. With divestitures of the brick and mortar operation of Benton, we have solidified balance sheets following the completion of multiple strategic capital financing, resulting in a net cash position of $270 million after payment of all the previous bank debts. Naked has realigned its leadership team with reappointment of Mr. Davis Rice as the CEO and the appointment of Simon Tripp as a seasoned investment banker and M&A executive. To the board of directors, Mr. Tripp has over 30 years of diversified business, capital market, and investment banking experience, managing both public and private companies across various sectors. We also appointed Mr. Mark Zierson, the CFO, a finance executive with 30 years of finance and operational experience. Mark has extensive experience with public company finance as a corporate officer and audit committee member. His executive career spans senior finance leadership roles, major ASX listed company. The closing of Benton divestitures represents a key milestone in Naked's corporate history. It has been a very long journey with many challenges that our management team had to overcome from an operational and financing perspective. I strongly believe we did what was best for our shareholders and now have positioned Naked with necessary capital and structure to drive shareholders' value in the coming months and years. We have strong balance sheets, no debts, and an asset-light operation model. We see a very favorable M&A environment around the globe. Before we begin with formal portion of the shareholders meeting, I know many of you are eager to update on the status of our plans to find a merger or acquisition partner. As we've said previously, we believe our strong cash position and tremendous shareholder base are assets that make Naked a highly attractive partner. Whilst many smaller opportunities exist, we would seem easier to execute quickly. We have always believed and still strongly believe our attributes afford us the right to be selective peaking partners, basically with a substantial company, one that is an industry leader with compelling growth prospect and disruptive technology. Over the past several months, our management has traveled extensively, meeting with companies that potentially meet these criteria. I'm delighted to confirm we believe we have found such company. We have recently reached preliminary agreement on a non-binding agreement that are now conducting due diligence on. The company is in a sector which has been forecast to have strong growth for many decades to come. There is of course no guarantee that we will complete this deal on preliminary terms we have negotiated or at all. And so the main idea from here is that, as you've seen from my last videos, the CEO has been going to New York and other different countries, and they've been talking or hinting about some news to come. And we anticipated that news would most likely become an acquisition due to their massive cash basically results and them divesting from Benton itself. They're going on towards an only e-commerce platform. And so that could be the direction they're going for, something relating towards e-commerce or some kind of designer clothes relating towards their previous ventures. Meanwhile, they do have assets, but if you were to consider only their cash position, around 270 million, anticipate around 25% premium of the company they're buying, that company itself probably would be worth around $200 million in general. $200 million would make probably the price over book of the new Naked Brain Groups being around, I would say 2, which is not so bad. If they do fix the price over sales, that could be a really massive opportunity. Currently, they're trading around 55 cents, and we're going to talk about that in a second at the very end. But before moving on, if you'd like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications button on. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video and join our Discord in the description below, totally free. On the institutional buyers, for instance, what we're seeing here is that the current institutional buyers are adding shares rather than disposing. In some cases, like the Millennium Managements, adding around 382,000 shares and 2 Sigma around 50,000 shares. But ever since the news came out, institutional buyers haven't been active onto this one. It perhaps could be because it was a Friday, and a lot of investment bankers and whatnot don't really like to buy things on a Friday. For instance, a Monday sounds a lot better. But in the terms of the short interest volumes, you're able to see that more than 50% of all volumes are going towards the short side. So that's definitely something very interesting. Let's move on towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, there's a lot of things we want to take a look at. For instance, the moving averages are all bearish. That's because it's been sliding for a bit, so we're going to disregard that. But in terms of the willing percent R, it shows a lot of buyers came in at a strong force on Friday, even though the stock dropped from 59 cents down to 55 cents, even at the lowest at 53 cents. But it's still a jump from 50 cents from the day before. But what you get to see in willing percent R, which is very similar to relative strength index, is that the stock kind of pushed forward as well, and there's more buyers now than sellers in that specific case. But I really doubt that that trend would keep going on. We're going to talk about that a little bit afterwards. But in terms of the NAKD, it shows a positive reversal is very possible. It's kind of a very critical time now, and momentum seems to be still very bullish. In terms of the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are actually pinpointing upwards, suggesting there might be another leg up for this one. And on the moving average bands, it sees the ceiling at 59 cents and the bottom at 48 cents. Now, again, moving average bands change all the time, so that's just for more of a daily perspective, perhaps for the next 2 days. But it can easily break through that moving average and adjust the new moving average bands. In terms of Fibonacci retracements, and the reason why I'm going for this one is because high frequency traders and institutional buyers use it. The current resistance is at 86 cents, above there 134, above there 174, 213, 269, and 340. The only support that we can find on the Fibonacci retracements is 7 cents. Now, in terms of the current support on a price line action, we're able to see that 54 cents seems to be the current support. Below there, it's 50 cents. Below there, 35 cents. Going down to 23, 16, and then down to around 13. The resistances are a few, so the current resistance would probably be at the 57 level cents. And then above there, you're looking upwards to around 63 cents, and then going upwards to 76 cents, and then up to 88 cents, 94 cents, going up to 105, and then 121, and then upwards to 142, and then 157, going upwards to 189, and then upwards to 224. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think about this stock? Now, Naked Brain Group has really come around because they were almost going to go bankrupt a while ago without the retail side really saving them and them raising some money out of that. And now they have a cash position. And with that cash position, they're trying to find a new venture to go through and buy or acquire a new company. Now, I anticipate that that company will have perhaps a value for around $200 million. So it's not a massive company, but the sector itself, they say that it has growth. Now, I do anticipate for it to kind of see a bit more volatility and a little bit more of a growth in that strategy as you move forward, just based on the news itself. I do anticipate that itself, the transaction will probably take 3 to 6 months to be completed. And there's one thing in particular between that 3 to 6 months that is very, very critical coming up in the next 2-3 months, which is the 180-day basically dead or notice that was given by the market itself to achieve $1 for 10 days straight. And so I do anticipate without this massive news or any more information that will be giving towards us, if they don't do that, they might not meet that criteria. And for that, they would have to do a reverse split. So there's always a risk there. But there's also another thing they can do. They can apply for another 180-day extension until they figure out everything in between. And usually those are granted. So I do anticipate that they might have to go on with the 180-day extension. They go with that. They figure out the acquisition. They buy into it. Probably the stock price would jump because of that. But also the price over book, I do anticipate will be 2 to 3 for that company. Because when you go ahead and want to acquire a company that is doing well, you got to pay a premium. If you're buying a company that's not doing well, you're going to buy it at a discount or a cost. So keep that in mind. But I do think that there are exciting things coming up, and I'm very excited to hear who they're acquiring and what their information is about. So what do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.